This is what Paragon should have been. I bought these 5 fragrances that blow up on TikTok. Are they worth the hype? Let me break it down for you. If you want a part 2, comment it down below. And if you want the opposite, so fragrances that TikTok doesn't know about, let me know too, because I got a few hidden gems. Anyways, you guys can already see this one in my hand. Lattafa Badi Al Oud Honor and Glory. This is a fragrance I just could not escape from on TikTok. They pretty much thrusted me into buying this. And sometimes I'd be submissive and shit, and I'd just do what I'm told. But now, to be fair, I already had Badi Al Oud Amethyst. I'm not too sure which one had more hype. I want to say Honor and Glory did, but Amethyst for me was definitely worth the hype. It's quite polarizing. If you don't like Oud and Rose, you're really not gonna like this. But Honor and Glory, on the other hand, is a lot more likable. Definitely a lot more likable. You've got this nice juicy pineapple, this creamy vanilla. You've also got this turmeric in there, gives it this nice spice. But notes aside, what you really get is this tropical fragrance. Some people might say it's gourmand. I'm not too sure if I get that vibe. I get this tropical, creamy, sweet fragrance, which would be beautiful in the colder weather, but I've also worn this a lot in the summer and higher temperature. It really is a good fragrance that you can wear all year round. Having said that, it is quite sweet, so if you want to wear this to school or to the gym or the office, be careful. It is one of these fragrances that might be too sweet to others, so just keep that in mind when you wear it. But definitely a fragrance you have to have in your collection. This one is really nice, and I would say it's worth it. TikTok did not let this one down. And here in Australia, it's like 60 Australian dollars. Really, really cheap for 100 ml. Check it out. Sticking to Lattafa for a second, we also have Vintage Radio. This is quite literally another one that I was just bent over and I had to buy. This one I genuinely had no consent. Anyways, Vintage Radio. Now we're getting into like the $70 range, I think. A little bit more expensive, but no, that smells really good. Colder weather has just come around in Australia, so I'm definitely gonna be rinsing this one. That said, you can still wear it in summer. Just go a little bit easier on the sprays. This one's a clone of Initio Paragon. Now, the other month when I was in Milan, I did get to try Initio Paragon for the first time, but since I had this for a few months before I even tried Paragon, I actually prefer this. And I know a lot of people that have Paragon and this, and they do prefer this one. Now, if you're wondering why, this has a lot more of this juicier plum. To me, it's got more character, it's a lot more dense, whereas Paragon is a little bit, I don't know, after having this one, Paragon just smells like a watered down version of this. It's a lot more soft. To me, it's got less character. This is what Paragon should have been. But wait, no, it's not unfortunate. Fortunately, this is from Lattafa, and it's only $70 compared to Paragon, which I think is around the 200 AUD or 300 AUD mark. I'm not too well versed on my prices, but yeah, we're talking about a quarter of the price, and it's a lot better, and it performs a lot better. But it's aromatic. It's almost got like this mintiness to it. I'm not sure where that note comes from because I don't think mint's an actual note, but you've got this juicy plum. It's aromatic, it's airy, so you're not really going to offend anyone. And it's got this slight mintiness to it. I could talk about this one for ages, but I'm not. Vintage Radio, you definitely need to check this one out. TikTok, again, did not let me down with this. Next up, we have Parfums de Marly Layton, probably the only niche fragrance I'm gonna have on the list. Firstly, because I don't really wear them, and secondly, I just think Middle Eastern fragrances, for the most part, are a lot more value. What the f am I saying? They're better value. They're better value. Don't get me wrong though, my favorite fragrance is actually on the shelf, so. But yes, Parfums de Marly Layton, this was blasted on TikTok for a whole year or so maybe. All those slideshows, Layton would always be in it. As I said, I don't really talk about niche fragrances too much, so I'm gonna keep it short, I'm gonna keep it concise. This was hyped up a lot. Now a lot of people shit on it because it's apparently overhyped, but they're the ones that hyped it. Anyways, it received a lot of hype, and I would say for good reason. It is a really nice apple and vanilla fragrance. It does have this like menthol kind of smell to it. It's like that minty, almost medicinal smell. Someone once told me it smells like Vicks. I think like the rub, or like that thing that you smell and it clears your nose. Now that I've heard that, I can't really unsmell that, but that does not take away from the fact it's a very sexy fragrance. Women really like this one. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's masculine whilst not coming off too aggressive. They're not gonna feel unsafe in your presence. It's smooth, it has character, it has depth whilst not being too complex. And to me, this really is a niche fragrance. It's simple, but it's sophisticated. There's not a lot going on, but there's still something going on. It doesn't smell like an overpriced designer kind of scent. There is a lot of good clones of it, hence why I've only got a 75 ml, but still worth the hype, still a good fragrance. TikTok, once again, you've got a good taste for this one. All right, we're gonna do 2 more and then we'll leave the rest for another video. This is Aga. I've actually got 2 bottles of this one. Now, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this was absolutely gassed up on TikTok because of me. I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding at the same time. At least in Australia, this has taken over. It is unreal. I'm almost convinced that half the population of Australia have a bottle of this. Actually, fuck it, maybe 3/4. Let's actually talk about this one. So this is 100 ml, it's 45 Australian dollars, and this is a 1-to-1 clone of PDM Altair. So look at that atomizer for 45 AUD. You're playing with me. Now, a lot of you that have a bottle of this know what I'm talking about, but people that haven't tried this one or are gonna say something like, well, what about Liquid Brun? With this fragrance and with Liquid Brun, a lot of people say they're almost convinced it's the same exact juice. People think Liquid Brun is literally Altair, just in a different bottle. That is the exact same as this one. I'm not talking 97%, 98%, I'm talking 100%. I'm convinced this is Altair. You're gonna get over 10 hours and the projection is just monstrous. I don't wanna hear any shit like, oh, I can't smell it after 3 hours. Fuck. Oh yeah, this one did get a lot of hype. I guess I'll talk about this. But yeah, Mahir Legacy. I remember seeing this one everywhere like, what, 2 years ago? A year and a half ago? And this was one of the first fragrances in my collection. Now I've got over 120 fragrances. I believe this was like my 10th fragrance or something. So it's been around for a while, you know. Me and this horse cap, we've been through some stuff. Anyways, let's give it a spray. So why did this one get hyped up? Well, at least here in Australia, this is 60 Australian dollars. Actually, maybe around 50. So in America or other parts of the country, this is probably around 20, 25 USD, something like that, 30 USD. It's a really cheap fragrance. The bottle is interesting, the cap is interesting, but the juice is quite nice. This is a clone of PDM Sedley. It gets very close to the DNA. I would say this one is a bit more peppery, whereas with Sedley, I get a little bit more citruses in it. If you wear this, people are not gonna say, holy shit, is that Mahir Legacy? No, they're gonna think it's f***ing Sedley. Now, Sedley is pretty piss poor with the performance, and Legacy is kind of piss poor as well, but a little bit less piss. I get about 7 hours if I don't leave the house. If I leave the house, it's gonna evaporate in probably 5.5. So we'll just average it to 6 hours. Projection is pretty moderate for maybe like 2 hours before it just kind of just sits on your skin. I absolutely drenched this when I first got it. I was wearing it like every single day. So did TikTok get me right with this one? Honestly, I'd say yeah. I don't really wear it too much anymore. But if you're getting into fragrances or let alone just want something you can wear every day, Mahir Legacy is definitely a good option. As I said, this is around 50 Australian dollars. It'd be cheaper in other places around the world, but yeah, can't go wrong. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content from me, check out my TikTok and my Instagram in the description. I post a lot more frequently on there than I do here, but I'm also trying to be more consistent with YouTube videos. But yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Have a good day or a good night wherever you are. And I'll see y'all in the next one.